Right, well welcome.
Thank you so much. I'm very, very happy. This is a dream to be in your house.
Oh.
My why is my son. Because although I feel so happy and fulfilled with my life, and I feel every day is a blessing, I just want that he has a different opportunity.
Hey, what's up? My name is Samuel Leeds. This is Winners on a Wednesday, where every single week I interview one of my success students who has become financially free by investing in property as a direct result of our training programs. This week I am with Angelica. She's financially free. She came on the training 2 years ago. She's had an absolute whale of a time over the last couple of years, has got 5 rent-to-rents, has got 4 properties that she's bought, mostly HMOs, is making around about £2,500 a month, clean profit, which is an average salary, and she's making that through recurring income in property. Angelica, great to have you on Winners on a Wednesday.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to be here.
So you are originally from Mexico?
Yes.
And life was a little bit different back then though, right?
Very different.
Talk to me a little bit about your upbringing and about your childhood.
I was born in Tijuana, which is the border with United States, and I was a 7-year-old from a very poor neighborhood in Mexico. I was living in a 13 square meters wooden house with a double bed where my family and I would sleep on, my little sister, my mom, and my dad, and we had to sleep the other way around so that we could all fit. And a lot of different things, but it was very, 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 very different. We used to have a composting, one of these composting toilets with no water pipes or drains, and unpaved streets. And the very good thing is that my mom was always challenge us and always making us believe that this was something temporal, and gave us all the education the best she could for us to overcome that.
Yeah, and when did you come to the UK then?
In 2010.
Okay, cool. So when you came down to England, what were you doing? What was your first job here in the UK?
Well, by that time, because of my mom, I got to study in one of the most successful universities in Mexico, private. I had a 90% scholarship, but still I was in a very nice university. And then I was working in a multinational company in Mexico that I also work here. So I was working for around 11 years in a very successful and driven company. And then in 2015, I decided to leave that.
Yeah. So 2015, and from your, you've always been a pretty good with money. So in your job, you were saving, and you were also investing. And am I right in thinking you bought 2 properties from 2008 to 2015?
Yes, well, I actually bought those properties just before I left, because when I decided to leave the company, I kind of made a strategy and a plan just not to drop the job. So I said, I really need to make sure that my visa is in place, because I depended on this job to be able to live here.
Yeah.
And I really need to have a house, because if I am self-employed or if I have a company, my knowledge was that I wouldn't be able to get a mortgage. So I worked very hard the last year, and when I took the decision that I didn't want to work in any company that wasn't maybe mine or it wasn't my passion, I literally worked through those steps to get my first property and then leave the company. And then it was kind of by accident that I became a landlord with not a lot of knowledge. I refinanced, and then I got another flat.
Yeah.
But it was a little bit, not a great beginning, but still.
Why was it? Because it's interesting, because when we met in 2018, you'd already got a little bit of experience in property, but you said that it had kind of gone not that great. There'd been some problems, and talk to me a little bit about that, because I think property investing is a business. And I think that if you're going to go into property, you should treat it really seriously, get the training, understand what you're doing, have a business plan. But most people that get into property stumble into it, or they do it accidentally. And I think that when you do that, things can go wrong. So, yeah. I mean, what happened?
Look, if I had treated my property business as I was treated as I was treating my work, maybe all had been different. In my work, I come from sales, and I negotiated, and I, read other people's mind. And when I went into property, I went a little bit in a rush to get the first property. It doesn't matter, like I wasn't making a full analysis of the numbers. I was more or less evaluating the area, but I was not really negotiating. I was like, okay, this more or less sounds good, and I think I left a lot of money in the deal because I couldn't negotiate.
Left a lot of money on the table.
On the table,
because that's the thing. If you know how to if you negotiate well in property, you can easily knock off 10, 20, 30 grand. So when people say, "Oh, training's expensive," it's like, well, actually, if you know how to just negotiate a deal, straight away you can save 10, 20, 30 grand. So you've got to look at the return on investment.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Definitely. So I didn't negotiate well enough. I didn't know the obligations as a landlord, and I didn't know how to maximize those investments either, because it was like renting it as a single let instead of applying for a HMO license. All of that I come to learn after.
Because that's another thing. You were renting it out as a single let, but then when we met and we did some training, you were thinking, actually, that could work as a HMO.
Yeah.
And then years later, you turned it into a HMO. Is that correct?
Yes.
And suddenly you're making a lot more money on it. And it's like all these years you could have been making that extra money.
Yeah.
The amount of money you lost. So when we met 2018, you were teaching Brazilian dancing martial art. What's it called?
Capoeira.
Capoeira.
Yes.
I said that very wrong.
No, you were actually one of the person that said
Oh, right.
best. Capoeira is not an easy word.
Yeah, well, my stepmom is Brazilian, so I should probably speak a bit more Portuguese.
Well, I can give you a capoeira lesson.
There we have it. I teach you property, you teach me Portuguese.
Deal.
And you're a teacher, you're a trainer yourself. You teach kids how to do that, how to dance, how to martial arts. And I think that's one of the reasons why we got on so well, because of your discipline, and some of the traits that you have as a trainer are probably similar to maybe what I have as a trainer as well. So what happened when we met 2018, and also when we met, how were things going financially? Were they going good? Were they going bad? Like where were you at?
When we met, I had left a very comfortable job with a nice salary and a nice lifestyle to do what I love, and then I realized that what I love wasn't paying my bills. So when we met, I was struggling every month to just, not struggling, that would be a lie, but just paying my bills and kind of managing just to pay the bills and nothing else, and working really hard for it.
Yeah.
And so I went into the crash course, and I felt, like a life-changing experience with so much content. I am a salesperson, so I'm used to be sold. I have no problem with that, because that's, I did that for many years. But for me, that was a very great content that I got. I had done, to buy my first house and my second house, I went into a lot of free training, a lot. And my rule was, learn first, apply what you learn, and then decide what education you take after.
Yeah.
But for me, I received so much content, and not only about property, but about mindset and about, it was just wow, that I ended up just saying, like, what, just buy the DFE, and it was one of the best decisions for me, because just because if I only had done the crash course with all the things that was going on in my life, going out of a very long 7-year relationship where it was ending, and then meeting a new person, and in 4 months of going out with him, getting married, and all excitement, and going out to San Francisco for a month and coming back, I had forgotten that I had like a mindset change and everything, because something happens in an event, and then you go home, and if it's not a constant reminder, it takes a little bit of time, because it's been years and years and years of your own mindset. So for me, having committed to the DFE, and then having that course as a reminder, and all the knowledge, it was the thing that make the most change.
Yeah, and I think from what you're saying about the crash course, of course, every business sells. You know, unless you've got no product, you're going to have to sell your product. So we have training programs like the Deal Finding Extravaganza, the DFE, which we sell. But my philosophy is serve before you sell. So if you're going to sell something, give loads of value first. So at the crash course, we give so much content, so much strategy, so much teaching, and we don't spend much time at all selling. Like it's, I think we sell twice. Maybe on the first day, on the second day for about 15, 20 minutes. It's just a quick, hey, here's an offer, boom, boom, boom.
But you feel so much value was added and so much significance that I was literally running there to get me signed up.
Yeah, because I guess my job is to, when people say, Samuel sells people dreams, I'm like, my job is to sell people on the fact that they can do it. I am gonna sell you a dream, but then I'm also gonna then work with you and help you and give you the tools to then go make that dream a reality. So which is what happened after the crash course with you. So what happened at the Deal Finding Extravaganza? Talk me through that whole, because that was 3 days?
Yes.
Talk me through what happened.
Well, I was learning in more depth what we saw in the crash course, and obviously the great thing is that then I have time to go through and have questions, and then I got my questions, I got my set of paperwork that I could start working on. So as soon as I left actually during that course I was making calls and saying like, should we set up a company and we can do this and we can do this. Now, one of my biggest mistakes was wanting to make everything. You know, like I went out of there wanting to do LOA, service accommodation, HMOs, deal sourcing, because everything is great, and I think that if you implement it, you will do it. But for me, it took time and took a lot of mistakes to actually know what I wanted, because I formed this company with 2 other friends, and we started doing LOA, like crazies. And then we said like, no, but we should also do some, buying a property, and we should also do HMOs, and we started also doing a little bit of service accommodation, and we started doing everything, and then nothing was really working until we really put the strategy together and said we just have to focus. And then I went into another crash course just to have another refresher, and I've been into other training as well. And it is when we have the focus on doing things that everything started to change. Yeah.
So when you were actually at the Deal Finding Extravaganza, where did you choose as your patch? Where were you? Blackpool.
Yeah.
And did you go on to buy properties in Blackpool?
Yes, I bought a first family-led in Blackpool, and a second one, HMO, and we have now made an offer and it's been accepted to buy a third one, directly vendor.
Okay, so the strategies that you've chosen then is to buy HMOs.
Yes.
You also turned your 2 buy-to-lets that you had previously into HMOs, is that right?
Yes, into a proper HMO. Now with a license and
nice. And then they're making more money?
Yes.
That's good to know. You've also done rent-to-rents.
Yes.
How many rent-to-rents have you currently got?
5.
5 rent-to-rents. Where are they?
In London, we decided to focus. Rent-to-rents is in London, and this is with a company that's called Amply. And then the properties that I'm now going to purchase, or I've been purchasing, is in Blackpool, which is my patch area. So these are the 2 things that we're now focusing on.
What was your first rent-to-rent deal? Was that the one that you got? Because I know some of your rent-to-rents you've done as joint ventures, where you've teamed together with people.
Yes.
Was the first one the one that you got in your sole name?
Yes.
Okay. Talk to me about that. So how much money did you have to put into that deal, that rent-to-rent deal, in total, including the, the furniture, all the different things that you have to pay, the fees?
Including the furniture, it was around £5,000.
About 5,000. So quite a lot of money for a rent-to-rent, and that's in London.
Yeah, because this one is in Paddington, so the rent is a 4-bedroom, 3-bedroom flat.
Yes.
We made it as a 4-bedroom.
How long did it take to get that £5,000 back?
3 months.
3 months. Okay, which is pretty good going. You've still got that today. You're still renting that one out.
Yeah.
You've got 4 more rent-to-rents that you've done in form of joint ventures.
Yes.
You've also done deal packaging and selling.
Yes.
Which is just, but that's not been your focus though, has it? See, because I believe, Angelica, that everybody should be a deal sourcer. And here's what I think, and I'd love to know what you think if you disagree. If you try and do everything all at once, like I'm going to try and do this strategy, that strategy, that strategy, that strategy, you can be running around. Let's say if you try and chase 2 rabbits, you'll catch none. However, the flip side to that is a lot of strategies kind of cross-use. Like for instance, you've got rent-to-rents, but you've also got joint ventures because you did the rent-to-rents as part of a joint venture. So if you hadn't have known about joint ventures, you might have thought, oh, I can't do this. I haven't got the money to put down. Therefore, I'm going to take myself out of the game. But because you're like, actually, I know joint ventures. Like you're doing rent-to-rent, but you're also using your experience of HMOs to run your rent-to-rent business. You're also, I think this is why I think everyone should be a deal sourcer. If you're a property investor, you are going to be looking at properties that are good, that just don't quite work for you.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for a HMO in Blackpool that is no more than 150 grand with a 30% return on investment. You might find one that's amazing, but it's 250 grand. But the return's still there, but you think that's not quite for me. In which case, sell it. So one of the things that you've been doing is you've not been aggressively pushing your deal packaging business.
No, at all.
When do you sell a deal?
When I go and look for a property for myself.
Right. And if it doesn't quite work for you, but it's really good, is that when?
That's when I pass it on, yes.
Or if you maybe you're looking for a property, but you find 2 and you think, I can't quite afford the second one. That kind of thing.
That's actually what happened. The second property that I bought, I went there for like, I think it was a week or something. And I viewed so many properties, but I already knew exactly what I wanted. So all the properties that I was looking for was already like good properties that could fit my strategy. And I put offers in, I don't know, maybe 12 properties I put offers on. And then 3 offers, after negotiation with all of them, 3 offers were accepted. That I was like, I have 3 awesome properties. I don't know which one to choose. I swear to you, I couldn't choose which one was the best because the 3 of them were very, very good.
Yeah.
So I literally ended up choosing one of them just because it was a probate property. And now, thanks to actually another of your videos on how to save tax, and you send an email to my newsletter, to the newsletter saying like there is ways to save tax and stamp duty on probate property, something like this. You didn't give all the information, but you gave me probate properties, stamp duty, you can save, there is a way to save. So I literally searched, I just went out of the topic, but I just remember, and then because of that, we are now asking for our £3,000 back for the stamp duty because it was a private property.
And that was free information on a friggin' newsletter. So if you can get £3,000 tax back from the newsletter, just think what can happen when you start. But that's why though, it blows my mind though when people say, oh, the training's so expensive. It's like, it's an investment.
Yeah.
And I mean, just on deal sourcing alone, have you made your money back from what all the money you invested with me?
Oh yes, a lot of,
Many times over. How many properties have you sold?
4.
4. So not a lot of houses, but you charge a decent amount. Yeah. How much would you charge to package and sell a deal?
3,500.
Okay, so you've made £14,000, is that correct, in total, just from packaging and selling deals?
Yeah.
14 grand, I'm looking for myself, it doesn't quite work for me, I'll just pass it on. That's almost like 14,000 for doing very, very, almost nothing, because you would have been looking at the houses anyway. So, but all you need to know is how to speak to an investor, the process, the paperwork. So it kind of blows my mind, and you've seen it because we've spoke about it. You've seen the losers that fail, and then go on and make videos and say don't do the training, either because they failed or they haven't even done it. They just have their own agenda. Did you see this stuff? Like, what's your, as someone that's on the courses, what do you think when you see that kind of stuff?
For me, as I said, I came from a martial arts background where it is a lot of respect to your ancestry and to your mentors and to your teachers. I am a capoeira teacher, so all my students also offer that respect to me. And for me, when I learn something from you, whether you know it or not, I will always be grateful. So I have seen a lot of videos of people that I actually met in the course because I was there in the course, or people who I know you have taught in the past, and I just feel even offended because it's disrespectful. This is my opinion, that it's just like if it didn't work for you, it doesn't mean that it doesn't work for a lot of people, but the problem might be you, not the training. So I think that property is definitely something that is simple but not easy. Like, it's simple because there is A, B, C. In the UK, because I am from Mexico, compared to Mexico, is very simple, but it's not easy. You have to put a lot of work. Like, you have to really go and implement the stuff. So.
But that person that you met though at the training, did they do well in property or did they fail?
Probably they fail.
Probably. But it's.
I don't know.
I guess it's the minority, and we said this earlier. It's the minority because most people that succeed, they're so busy on their business. They're so busy, but then the ones that fail have the time to go and troll and do videos. What's been the most challenging part, or the most breakthrough where you learn the most of your whole 2 years? You've done rent-to-rents, you've done deal packaging, you've done HMOs, you've done a lot of stuff. Like, what's been the most memorable over the last 2 years?
In terms of learning, I think the mindset. I would say actually two things. The first thing is the mindset, that I always heard this from other people, and I thought, well, yeah, but I have a positive mindset. I'm always being very passionate. But I also had a scarcity mindset and a mindset that, no, but this is, too good to be true. This is like, I don't know, and it's like you said, taking yourself out of the game. So it didn't happen like that when I went to your first training or the second. It is a process that is taking me a lot of time. And that's why I'm sure that if you invite me another time in the future, I will be able to tell you much more of a bigger things that I'm doing, because it is only changing the last 6 months maybe that there are so much out there and you just have to go and grab it. So for me, it's the mindset. And the second thing, more practical thing, is it is very important to do your to-do list, but it is much more important to do your not to-do list. And when I learned this, it's very difficult to let things go, because good, as a book, really nice book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People say, good is enemy a lot of times of great.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we're kind of hold on to the good, and we need to let that good go so that the great can happen, So I literally had to do my not to-do list. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to do this anymore. So much that we're now looking to get a VA to do a lot of the admin so that I can have more time to do more strategic things. So we're in a recruitment process right now.
That's great. That's so good. And I think that it's interesting because you told me, you're making £2,500 a month, but that's after costs and stuff. So you've got joint venture partners to pay, you've got landlords to pay, maintenance and everything. What are you doing now? Because are you still teaching kids, I won't try and say it, but Brazilian dance? Are you still doing that?
Yes, and I believe that I will, whether it's teaching, practicing, having my own business of my instructors to teach, I think I will always do it because that's my passion. I use capoeira as a transformation tool for kids and adults. But I have stepped out a lot, and this is one of the things that I had to compromise in order to focus more in property. And I would believe the biggest and the toughest decision for me to reduce the time there, to have my instructors in place so that they can deliver the classes, and I only do a few classes my own, or I did more online classes, and now focus more on property.
You believe that mindset is a massive contributing factor to success?
Yes, definitely.
I think that's so true. I think that's so true. Because the thing is, everyone has access to this video right now. Everybody has access to my daily videos, to the crash course, to even doing advanced training. So why is it that some people win and some people lose, even when they have access to the same information? And I think it must be due to that some people believe they can do it, find solutions, take massive action. Other people take no action, find problems, find reasons in their mind as to why it can't work, and then it's no wonder. It's no wonder that they fail. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe 50% is knowledge and 50% is action.
Yes, I would say that attitude, action, yeah, but and really believing that is going to happen, and not let the circumstances. Like for me, the main difference is to know that some situations or where you're living or what you have is a stage, and that stage can have time frames and not be part of your circumstances. For example, if I let my past, most of people that I knew from my childhood and up until high school that I was living in the same poor neighborhood, I don't know anyone. I don't keep in touch because, life has, changed significantly for all of us. But I didn't let that part of my life define who I am and who I want to be or who I want to become. So it's all about understanding who we are, and that whatever we have or whatever we are living at stage is temporal.
Yeah.
We are bigger than that.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more spiritual because I am also spiritual, but that mindset of, whatever you're living is just a time frame.
Yeah.
And you are not just this.
Yeah. I mean, I think mindset and attitude, discipline, action, for me, I think it's massively important. And it took you a long time to get to here.
Yeah.
It didn't happen fast. How long was it after the DFE when you got your first deal?
I'm very bad with memory.
Was it fast though, or did it take a long time?
No, it took around, I think it's DFE in August and first deal until next year, May.
Wow.
So it took,
8 months.
I'm very slow, but I think it's because I'm thorough, not slow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it took a while. Yes.
And some people would have said after 7, 8 months, oh, I've not done any deals, this doesn't work, it's not. But actually, if you keep going, you're going to get there in the end. I think persistence as well is something that some people can do it real fast. Some people a bit longer. Some people even longer. But if you look at it in the grand scheme of things, from where you were in 2018 to where you are in 2020, financially, it's a completely different place.
And bear in mind that when I went into the DFE, I had zero money. So it was on my credit card. I had zero money. So I couldn't just go and say, I'm going to, find my first property and, or at least I thought that because I wasn't I knew the concept of joint business partner, but I wasn't practicing it enough. I didn't implement it right away. So that's why it took me.
Another thing as well, for anyone that's watching this, I mean, all of our prices for all of our courses are actually on our website, published. So the DFE, all of the courses, the Academy, which is all of our training programs all together, which is about £12,000. You didn't do the Academy. No. You just did the Deal Finding Extravaganza, which was one of our courses where you might have invested maybe £2,500, £3,000. But we talked about the Academy, and you were expecting, what you tell me, what were you expecting and what happened when we spoke about the Academy?
Well, I always receive a lot of value from your course. So when you invited people to do an application for the Academy in the DFE, I feel in mine because I was like, you know what, I really know that I want to do this, but the doubt was, is this the right time or later? But I knew that I wanted to do the Academy. So I put my application in, and then you call us and your team, people who had fill in the application to go outside. And then I was expecting that, because you said I don't remember very well, but you selected who was already sure, and I said, look, to be honest, I'm not sure because I don't have the money to do it, and I would really like to go first and implement what I have learned here, and then come back and then join.
Yeah.
And then you respond, you saw my application, you saw the money that I was making, and you're like, fine, do that. And I'm like, hey, can you please try to convince me?
You were expecting, you wanted to be sold to, yeah?
Yes, I was like, oh.
Yeah, but the thing is, I could have persuaded you, I'm sure. I could have been like, put it on a credit card or whatever. But yeah, you'd already invested a few thousand onto the deal finding extravaganza, and I thought, you know what, you've not got too much money. I knew you were gonna be driven, and I knew you had a good plan from the course, and I was like, yeah, you just go implement what you've done. We'll talk another date. Do you think that sometimes I get unfairly criticised for heavy sales? You've been through it. You've seen all of the sales.
Every person can have their own opinion. For me and my experience, I said to you, I was like, really? Are you not going to? Come on! What is wrong with me? Why are you not trying to get me into the academy? So my experience is all positive about you, and I will always be grateful. I cannot speak for other people's experiences, but what I can speak is that if you have a bad experience, you shouldn't go publicly to say bad things about you, because that's their experience, that's your experience, and you are maybe putting other people that could have more action or more attitude, and because of your opinion, you, whoever is putting these videos, kind of blocking those new people that could potentially do well.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like, if I have something bad to say about someone and that's my personal opinion and my personal experience, I just don't say it.
Yeah.
There's no point, because that's part of, it could be that it's because of me and not because of that person. So I just don't say it. And that I don't find it very, very well, because there could be many people that could really thrive, but if they listen to this, they would be put off.
And that's why I'm so grateful to people like you who are here right now, giving your experience, which is a positive experience, which is, to be honest, this at the advanced training, most people in the room are pretty happy. Like most people, the vast majority of our students are really happy. What's the plans now then moving forward? Like, you've become financially independent. You've got 4 houses already. You've got a 5th one about to complete. You've got 5 rent-to-rents. You're making a full-time salary from property. I know that for you this is just the absolute beginning.
Yes.
and also as well, do you think that your first deal is your hardest? Because you've made some really good relationships as well through the way, which are looking promising to a lot more deals. Talk to me a bit about that.
Well, definitely the first one is the hardest, especially for me. It was doing rent-to-rent, because buying a house, there are sellers who want to sell, and then you just go, choose the best one for you, negotiate the price, and then make it happen. For me, that was easier. The difficult was getting the money to do that, but that was easier. However, doing rent-to-rent, a lot of landlords don't want or don't know that, actually could be great for them to be hands-off and having someone with passion and knowledge to run their properties. So having a first rent-to-rent was very, very difficult, and I think we got so many no's. It just doesn't matter. You just have to keep going until we got our first deal of a portfolio landlord. And every time that she has a property available and she's actually buying more properties, she comes to us and say, would this work for you? And then after, I met a person who I really, really admire, and every time I go and have 10 minutes chat with him, he knows how much I appreciate it, because I met this person who is a portfolio landlord as well, but has more than 60 properties, and buy property of a £3 million property, like here and there. And now to have one his trust after the second property that we managed for him, and that he's now giving me a building to manage with three flats on the building, which he's the freeholder, and he comes with a new property to say, would this work for you? That means a lot to me. And every time I go and meet him, he knows because I told him, but I'm sure he didn't realize at the beginning that just having this 5 minutes, 10 minutes chat with him, like I'm doing with you, and like we did, off the camera, is great, because for you saying something is a day-to-day, but for someone who is eager to learn more, it's just a very, very good thing.
Yeah.
So now things are finally feeling a bit easier, and we are hiring this VA as we speak now. I'm making the recruitment process myself, just to systemize so that I can have much more time for what I now doing, which is property development, which I'm immersing into that world.
Amazing. What's your strongest reason for doing all this?
Well, look, as I said, my background was that I come from this poor childhood, and I was happy. But just to tell you a quick story, can I do that? When I was in third year in primary school, I had a teacher that was horrible. And this teacher used to smoke before the assembly, and he would gather some kids just to smoke just to smoke out in their faces. It was horrible. And this was the kind of jokes. And one time he was writing on the blackboard, and I was speaking. The class is 50, 60 students per class, just very, very busy. And I was speaking to my friend Sergio, and he got very upset. And he literally turned around and trotted towards us, and just literally asked to put our hands in the front. And literally, I just remember my tiny hands like this, and in tears already. And I just saw the rule, to me and Sergio. And my why is my son, because although I feel so happy and fulfilled with my life, and I feel every day is a blessing, I just want that he has a different opportunity, a different environment, that his mindset is, from day one. For him, it's natural now. He's 8 months old, he doesn't realize, but he has done more than 20 viewings already. He's been in a refurbishing house in the pandemic because no one wanted to do it, and it was in Blackpool. So me, my husband, and him went there, and my business partner literally went there for a week, and then I came back, and we were there living for a month. And he is in the middle of this resiliency, of this action to make things happen, and of the opportunities. So I want a different opportunity and a different environment for him. And the other big reason is I want to inspire other people who have a hard life or who have limited conditions. And I want to leave an example that they can be a mother for their children, as my mom was with me. And doesn't matter the condition, you can do whatever you want.
That's so powerful. And I'm sure not only will your son be a massively successful person and happy person because of your great leadership and role model, but also many other people will be touched when they see your story. And it's been amazing couple of years getting to know you. And I'm excited about now walking into property development with you as well, and doing some bigger deals. Because you got big energy. I always say the bigger your energy, the bigger your bank will be. Do you believe that?
Perfect. I am going to believe that now.
Yeah, the bigger. And even at the crash course, I'll say that. I'll say, look, you've got to throw yourself into this, and you're going to get rejected. You're going to get told no. You're going to get laughed at. Maybe if you become really successful, you're going to have people doing stupid videos about you. You know. but ultimately, massive action, massive belief, and a massive reason why for doing what you're doing. How do you manage to juggle your time? Like you say, you moved to Blackpool for a month. Just to do property? Because that's where you've got an 8-year-old son, Aaron?
8 months old.
Sorry, 8-month-old son, Aaron. A husband. You got married just after we met at the deal finding extravaganza. So congratulations on that, and your new son. How do you manage the time to be doing all this?
Look, I just don't have an option.
Yeah.
So we don't have anyone else to look after Aaron, and I didn't want to put someone else that, like a childcare or something, because he was too little. Maybe in the short future I will consider, but so far we have time schedules with my husband. So he has, for example, now everything changes because Aaron is growing and changing the habits every time, every week. But right now the current roles are, for example, 8 to 2 and 2 to 8. So someone has Aaron from 8 to 2, and another person, me and him, has Aaron from 2 to 8. And I am signed up in a gym where you can work, and it has a great environment, and it's a family club. So I literally take Aaron with me when it's my turn from 8 to 2, and he's there, and I think they laugh at me in the gym because I get there with the car seat, the trolley together, and a little chair. And so I literally change Aaron every hour when he's a little bit crying. So from 1 to 2 to 2, then I hold him. So he is there with us the whole time.
Yeah.
And when he is with my husband, then I have time to just fully focus on what I.
And you mentioned about environment, and the environment of the gym, and the environment of the training, and the environment of. I think environment is massively important. You might remember me saying at the crash course or at the DFE, I don't remember, but I say environment is stronger than willpower.
Yes.
Because if you are around the right people that want you to win and are cheering you on and supporting you and are on the same page, that's going to keep you going. Yeah. Whereas if you're on your own and you're isolated, you might be really fired up one day, but you're just not going to win.
And it is true. I decided to pay. This gym is not cheap. I could be, as I was before, in a £40 per month gym, and I'm saving money on rent because this is just a decision in order to invest, to keep investing the money. However, in the gym, I literally said, I don't mind. We're paying £250 per month, but because we want to be surrounded with people, with that environment.
Yeah.
Aaron will have small friends who have wealthy families, and that's the environment that I really enjoy right now.
Being around winners.
Yes.
And I think that's what you find as well, coming to the crash courses and the DFE. You're the environment where people are like, I want you to win. And then also as well, the process. I think it's really important to know that life is not a journey, life is a process. And when you learn the process and follow the process, A, B, C, then figure out X, Y, Z and walk that journey, which is what you've done. What would be your final piece of advice for someone that's watching this, that's thinking, maybe they're in the same position as you when we met, where you didn't have any money and you needed to put something on your credit card? Like someone who's maybe starting out, but they've got the energy, they've got the fire, they've got the motivation. What would be the first steps that you would give them?
Network.
Yeah.
This is something that is not easy for me in property. In capoeira or in fitness is natural because I've been doing it for 18 years. But in property, it was unnatural. It was like scary. And as soon as I get into the crash course, you ask me, are you still in touch with people you met in the first crash course? I was like, not talking to anyone. So, but the second crash course that I went was different in the DFE because I still keep a great friendship with one person in particular, and other people just contact. So even if it's not comfortable, you have to network because there are people who will know your story, your skills, and then you can both collaborate and help each other.
Well, I think people gleaning into this is the mindset right now of someone who is successful, someone who is driven, someone that's actually not going to be successful but achieved it already. And I know you've got a long way to go, but what you've achieved to this point is absolutely remarkable, especially considering where you've come from. So I just want to say massive respect. Thank you for coming to my home.
Thank you.
It's been great to be part of your story.
It's amazing to be here. I'm so grateful to you and to what you do. And for me, I want to have a way to pay you back.
Well, I guess, what do I say? Your success is my oxygen. So the fact that you've just taken action and done it makes me super happy. So thank you.
Thank you.
Guys, I hope you enjoyed listening to that. I hope you're inspired. I hope you've got some really practical golden nuggets. If you want to see more interviews like the one with Angie, you can see them right up here. Also, if you want to see just a really practical video that's going to help you in your property journey, check this up right here. And of course, don't forget to subscribe down here. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe, and of course, smash the like button. I'll see you next time.